All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about what is going on in the world and the economy, at least from my perspective. I'm not an expert, I'm not an economist, I am not a news personality, so I don't have all the answers. I don't have every detail about everything that's going on, but I do have some opinions that I wanted to share on our economy, on our housing market, and just kind of what I see is going on. Maybe help provide you with some ideas to help you maybe overcome some of the discouragement and down feelings that you might have as you look at the economy. So, not too long ago, a friend of mine made a comment that I kind of laughed at, but he said, "How are my kids going to be able to afford a house?" And, as I look at the economy and as I look at what's going on right now, I'm actually in a situation where my family has been renting a home where we live, and we didn't plan to do this. This wasn't part of the grand plan. We sold our house and moved to a new state and found a rental kind of last minute. And the plan was I had actually negotiated with the landlord, and the plan was to do a 9-month lease, and then we were going to buy a house. And what happened was we ended up liking the neighborhood, loving the neighborhood. We made a bunch of friends and we didn't want to leave. But at the time, the neighborhood was out of our price range. And so we would have had to move somewhere else if we wanted to buy a house. In hindsight, part of me is kind of like, I wish we had have just done it then. It would have been a lot easier. We would have been in a better position. But we didn't. And we've stayed and we've been here for several years now. And with the market the way that it is, we're kind of stuck here at the moment. There really aren't a lot of options. And, our rent has gone up quite a bit since the time we moved in. And that's been a challenge and a struggle to be able to afford the additional rent. But what else do we do? There's not a lot of options. And so as I look at the world, I do kind of have to laugh. I'm like, when my friend says, "How are my kids going to be able to afford a house?" I'm like, well, how am I ever going to be able to afford a house? Because it really has gotten out of control. So the question that's on my mind and possibly on your mind as well is, are we going into a recession? Are we going to see housing prices drop? Are we going to see gas prices go back down? Are we going to see groceries, the cost for all of our groceries go back down? And, the real answer is nobody knows for sure. We can kind of look to history to give us an idea of maybe trends or what could be happening or about to happen. But truthfully, nobody knows. And so what do you do when, we're sitting here in this situation now where things are really expensive and maybe there's worries about your job or your business or whatever it is that you're doing to try and earn a living? Maybe you have some legitimate worries and concerns, and with the state of the economy, you're wondering what the future holds. When I think about this, I'm actually reminded of a situation that I was in several years ago. So about a decade ago, probably, it was right around the time that Obama was running for president for the first time. And I got really into politics. I mean, to the point where I was on social media, I was getting involved in the heated debates going on. I know I hurt feelings. I know I probably damaged some friendships back then. But as I look back, it was just stupid because here we are. And of course, we still see this today. But when you get on social media and you're debating, the whole keyboard warrior concept, you're debating with all the people that and a lot of people you don't know, and we're going back and forth, and like, whoever has convinced anybody that they were wrong on social media, right? So I got into that a little bit, and I look back now and I just think to myself how stupid that was, how pointless that was, because it didn't change anything. All it did was made me a less happy person. And so for the last couple of years, I've really tuned out of a lot of the news media. I still get a little bit of news, I still hear updates. I see things on my social media feeds and stuff, but I don't pay a lot of attention to any of it anymore because I personally found that all it did was made me less happy. When you're exposing yourself to all these stresses and all of these problems going on in the world, how can you be happy with that? How does that make life better? And the answer is that it doesn't. So here's a tip that I have for you. If you want to have a happy life, if you want to have a little bit less stress in your life, I mean, there are things that are going to bring stress no matter what we do, but we can minimize that by turning off all the negative voices that are out there. Turn the news off. You know, things are going to keep moving and keep going, even though we're not paying attention to every little tiny detail of all the things that are going on in the world. Life is still going to go on, and you'll be better off for it. Now, I'm not saying ignore everything in the news. I think it's important to kind of have some information and kind of know a little bit about what's going on in the world, you know, locally as well as globally. But don't focus on it. Focus on the things that you can control and the things that you have power to make better in your life. So if there's a problem that you can actually change, then go focus on and fix that. And don't worry about who the president is or who the global leaders are that are messing everything up, because none of that really matters. We have no control over that. So why let that into your life in such a way that it's going to make you down and discouraged and depressed? This is what I've tried to do with my social media for the last couple of years. I've tried to be more positive and more uplifting about the things that I share, the things that I post. And I have found that I'm happier for it, that my life is a little bit lighter. It seems a little bit easier. This doesn't eliminate all of my problems or my struggles and challenges. I still worry about my business. I still worry about being able to take care of my family. I worry about my kids' futures and what they're going to be able to do or not do based on what this crazy economy is going to do. So those things don't go away, and I can't solve everything, and I can't make everything go away, but I don't have to sit and focus on that stuff. I actually remember something that I saw a while back. So Tony Robbins was in an interview with some local news station somewhere, I think it was, and they asked him, do you ever get depressed? Do you ever feel down and discouraged and stuff? And he's like, well, yes, of course. I'm a human being. Of course I do. But he said something very profound. He said, but I don't stay there. And that has stuck with me. Learning to not stay in that state of depression. Like, find a way to get out. When you get hit with news or with something that makes you feel down or depressed or discouraged or, you know, inadequate or whatever it might be, when you're in that negative place, don't stay there. Find a way to get out. And one of the easiest things we can do, this is another thing that Tony Robbins teaches. I know a lot of people teach this concept, but get up and move. Like, physically get up and move. Get up and do some jumping jacks or do something to like change your state. And it will make a difference. It does help you to feel better. And then you've got to work on changing the way you think. You know, work on keeping the negative thoughts out and work on bringing those positive thoughts in. And this is going to be a lifelong battle. I don't think anybody will perfectly master that skill of being able to truly control all of your thoughts. But I do believe that we can get better at it. If we work on staying away from the dark places in our minds and focus on the positive things and focus on the things that we can actually improve on and make a difference with, that's going to help us in the long run. Try not to stress too much about what's going on in the world. Keep an eye on it and take advantage of the things that you can take advantage of. You know, if housing prices come way down and you can buy a house, then by all means go for it. Or if you're able to create the kind of income that allows you to be able to buy in this crazy market and you don't care, then go for it. Do what you can do. Focus on the things that you actually have control of in your life and try and let the rest go, because all the other stuff does is make you feel down, depressed, discouraged, and not worth much. You are worth a lot. You're worth something. You have value. So get out there and show the world that you've got value. Focus on the things that you can control and try to aim to be happier in your life. So that's my message. Have a great day. Bye.